Hey everyone, James McBride here. Glad you're watching this video. This video today is going to be about social engineering and the bad stuff, malware. And I know I talked about firewalls and said we're going to get in deeper to that in the next one. Well, we're not. We'll save that for later when we're running into VPNs and stuff like that. Malware by far and social engineering by far are the largest ways that people need to learn how to defend themselves and what tools do they need to have set up so that they don't lose information or get their information stolen. So we're going to look at the classifications of malware and then what is social engineering, what is it doing, and how does it fit with malware? Because we're looking at both of those. Now, later on, we discuss social engineering in a whole different way so that you'll understand more broadly what social engineering is. This one's focused on malware. All right, that's what we're going to go through today. Let's get started though. What is malware? Notice it's ware, just like software. Malware is anything that was created for harmful intent. That's just the simplest way to put it. If somebody wrote a program that does whatever and it's meant to steal information or cause you trouble, it's malware. So malware is this large, overreaching, oh, malware. I got malware. What kind of malware did you get? That's the next question. So any intentionally designed software to damage systems, disrupt operations, or steal data and resources. So let's look at the core malware types, the foundational malware types, and we will start with the oldest, viruses. They call them viruses because they have to attach to a legitimate program. Historically, that's all they could do. They'd have to attach to a legitimate program. But now files and how they execute and PDFs and videos, and they're much more complicated than they used to be. So viruses can actually attach to them. When you run the movie, you ran the virus, that kind of thing. When you run Chrome, you run the virus. So what does it do? What does this virus do? Well, what a virus does is dependent on what's inside it, which is known as the payload. A virus will try to spread. That's the definition. So you have this, maybe you downloaded a video and you're like, wow, I get to watch this movie for free. I didn't have to pay for it. And it's got a virus attached to it. So when you watch the video, this virus runs. What is it doing? It's looking for other videos to attach itself to. That way, when you run those, you'll run the virus again. So spreading is part of it. Then it executes whatever it's been told to do, whatever it's been programmed to do. So in this sense, we'll say that it's designed to delete all your photos. So every time you run a video, it goes and deletes more photos. It looks for JPEGs, PNGs, and just deletes them constantly. And that's what it's designed to do. So they can be very malicious. Or it could be, oh, the code of this, the payload, is actually just going to go in and look at my internet cache and look at what I've been doing on the internet. Now, that's not good. That's definitely still not good to have happen to you, but it's not like it's deleting photos, which is much worse. So viruses and worms are programmed to do different things, and that's what they call a payload that's in them. Difference between a virus and a worm? Well, they both self-replicate, but the worm is its own actual program. It does not need to attach to anything. How it deceives you is that it puts, let's just say this is a bad one, and right there on your desktop is this link for Chrome, and you click it, but it's not Chrome. It's actually a worm. So all they did was just change the little tiny link that says launch Chrome, and instead it launches itself instead. Now, the bad thing about us is that if you saw that, let's say this is the icon, right? And you're like, oh, I need to launch Chrome. Click, click. Huh, that didn't work. Click, click. That didn't work. Click, 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 click. We've run it like 25 times now. And this worm has replicated itself. So it's got all these little Chrome things all over the place. And it can look, every time you run this thing, it looks and says, do I have any network connections? Who am I connected to? and then it copies itself to that other computer you have in the house. So that's a problem. And it's its own executable thing. It doesn't need to attach to anything. Now, by far, the third is the most predominant these days. It gets its name from the old story, the Trojan horse, which honestly, I thought it was kind of cool when I was a kid to hear that story, but now that I'm older, I'm like, what? There had to be a ton of alcohol involved in this. This is bad decision time, right? You've been laid siege to, and they finally give up and leave you a present. Yeah, that sounds like exactly what your enemies would do. We hate you so much, we would like to take over your entire city and take over everything. But now, you've beaten us, so we totally respect you and we built you a cake. It makes no sense whatsoever. But that's where the name comes from. They think it's a gift. What happens? Murder. They come out and now they attack. That's two different things, right? So what it appears to be here is a legitimate program, and then it hides what it's doing in the background. Now, quite often, it doesn't just appear to be a legitimate program. It is actually doing what you said. A huge, huge, huge area where this compromise comes through is some kind of silly little game. Quite Google is locking down on this like you would not believe. And lots of people don't like the fact that they're locking down on this, but they have had so many apps that are these little games and things, but in the background, it's stealing all your data and watching everywhere you go. And people don't like that. So you're playing the game and yeah, it's a real game, see? But in the background, it's stealing all this stuff. And that's the definition of a Trojan. We'll talk more about those things later. So we already really covered this. It does, I want to point out, require you to do something. So when you're dealing with a virus, you have to click on it. You have to do something to spread that. And then, of course, again, to summarize, worms, they can spread across networks. And that means they often spread faster. And because of this, they don't require your interaction, which means they spread faster. Trojans appear legitimate. They rely on deception rather than self-spreading. You saw it in the App Store and downloaded it. That was deceiving. All right, so let's take a look at social engineering, and then we'll look how these two things fit together. Social engineering basically exploits people's trust. Thankfully, people still trust each other. However, this day and age on the internet, don't trust anybody. I'm sure most of you have heard the stories of hackers, creating a call that sounds like your dad, your mom, your uncle, whoever. This is now very easy for them. My videos are on YouTube. My voice is on YouTube. They can take my voice and they can basically just replicate it and then create a fake phone call. If they find out my number or my family's number, then they can just say, hey, and create this whole thing. And of course, they're trying to steal money from those people. But that's exploiting the trust. I'm hearing my dad on the phone. Therefore, this is true. And that's my human behavior. So dad says I need to do this. And it's very dangerous. That's why I'm saying you can't trust it. In that situation, you really have to go through, I hate to say it, you have to go through, hey, look, with all your family. I need to do this with my mom and dad. They're getting up there. It's like, hey, if somebody calls and sounds like me and wants money, you should immediately know that's not me. I never call you and ask you for money. Even though I'm telling you I'm in danger, I'm in the hospital, I need money right now, they won't treat me. Well, whatever fake crap they make up. Instead, we have to have some kind of code word. Like maybe I say at the beginning of the call, hey, I love you. And then I go ahead and talk to them about whatever. It's sad to say, but it's true. That's just a little hint. It's not part of your tested material. But these days, you need to be aware that they're going to exploit your trust in any way they can. And you have to be suspicious of pretty much everything, emails, messages, posts. calls, anything like that. They are usually through convincing messages, calls, or texts. And what we're really trying to steal information from you because maybe you're the first step to another attack, or maybe they just want your money. So you have to think. You have to think beyond, well, they're not asking me for any money. So I don't see why it would be bad to give this person this. So they're probably real. They're not somebody trying to steal. You may be the first step that gather information from you and then attack somebody you know using that information. It's terrible, but it's true. Phishing, PH. That's what this guy's do is phishing. He's phishing on the Wi-Fi, throwing out these, hey, type in a user ID and password. Fraudulent messages trick users into revealing sensitive information. So to give you a really good example of this, you got an email and it says, or a message, and it says, hey, we're about ready to ship your $5,000 TV from Amazon, which some of you right now are going, oh, yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, it's prevalent. And they have a link. So you click the link. And now you're on a fake site, and it's like, what's your username and password? The fake site looks exactly like Amazon's. You type username and password, they now have your username and password. Sometimes it's a phone number. You hit the phone number, and now you're talking to somebody who's pretending to be Amazon. So they want to get you to click on these links so that they can talk to you and steal money from you. Oh, yeah, well, I think we can stop that shipment. Yeah, oh, dang, that payment already went through. Can you log into your bank and see if it's there? Unknowns to you, you already clicked on the link that gave them access to your computer. I know somebody that happened to. They thankfully only lost about $1,500 instead of their life savings. Vishing and smishing. Well, let's go back. Phishing, vishing and smishing. So basically, if this is done through voicemail, then it's called vishing. If this is done through text messages, it's called smishing. It's the same scam. So basically, phishing is going to be, I got this through email, and then this is voice, and this is through SMS. That's why it's smishing. But it's the same thing. It's the exact same attack. And as we already talked about, this is what they want to do. They want the financial game. Data theft is still a financial game. They want to use resources. This is something people don't think about. That they get basically into your computer and they're using your computer resources to compile information or to create Bitcoin or whatever they're doing. And malware is usually not random. It's usually very, very specific to certain individuals. And now, again, I want to point out with AI, you need to be aware that they're using AI to make these things better. So down here someplace, we'll get there. I won't jump ahead. We'll get there. Now, signs of I might have a Trojan, I might have a virus, I might have a worm. This is not getting into smishing, vishing, and all that. Now, how that fits together, sorry, I should have pointed that out, is that this email stuff, this phishing, may have a link that you're hitting that also downloads malware onto your system. And that's where it comes in and says, oh, we're trying to steal computer resources. Right. You click on that link and now you have a virus and a worm and a Trojan, as well as you're being connected with somebody who wants to steal your money. So that's where this fits in. Well, how do I know if I've got a Trojan? How do I know if I've got a virus? What would happen on my system? Most often it's going to slow down. This is really, really what happens. You go out and you get this piece of software game and you load that on your phone or your PC or your Mac or whatever. You load that on and it's actually a Trojan. So in the background, it's over here stealing all this information. So that's burning CPU power. It's just going nonstop, just boom, boom, boom. Just search every directory, find those credit card numbers, and they're there. Trust me. And you just scan and scan and scan. And that takes system resources. But it doesn't stop there. They actually are paid to let something else in. And so quite often that Trojan invites another and another and another and another. And then within a week, you have 50 Trojans running on this machine, and you can't use it for nothing because all the Trojans are just stealing all your information and sending it across the internet. And so people see that. You should watch that. You should not have a sudden change in your system's behavior. If you do, I have videos on how to look to see if there's a problem. But the first thing you think of, just really quickly, is did I do an update, right? We all know, as I said, we need to do updates. We need to make sure we're safe. But you might want to wait a week. But if you did an update and now your system's slow, bing, I need to take the update off because I didn't have a slow system prior to the update. I was just fine. So it must be the update. That's what's happening here. You take the update off, boom. All right, it's great. Everything's working. So you've seen that. Or there hasn't been updates. There hasn't been anything that's happened to this thing. But why is my system so slow? So again, another video that I show you how to step through that process and see what things are running on your computer. So check that out, but not part of your test. All right, you get a bunch of pop-ups or unexpected ads. The unexpected ads is a lot more seen these days. I mean, most browsers just really constrict the pop-ups, and so you don't get very many of those. They may try to pop up things, but it doesn't work. However, you could have it load a whole nother Chrome, a whole nother Edge, whatever, and here's an unexpected ad. Of course, unknown programs and apps are really what I'm talking about. You will dive into that, but you go in and start looking at what's installed because you can go to your installed software. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? I don't know what they are. And you can actually do a little research and find out what is this blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's a known Trojan. It does these things. So again, the other video, your security software got disabled. So down at the bottom, you've got your security software running, or if you're on a Mac, up at the top, you got your security software running. And instead it says disabled. If this said disabled, I'd be like, what? Why is that disabled? I would immediately look into it. Same thing for you. You would look, doesn't matter, Windows down here in the bottom. Why is that not working? It should be working. So the why it's not working may be because you're infested with something that turned it off. After all, we don't want that thing, your protection working. We don't want that. And then if you detect it early, if you're actually watching what happens, it will limit the damage on your system. It can become so bad. And I've heard people say this, and in this part, I don't believe. Oh yeah, I had it so bad it damaged the computer. That's damaging hardware. That doesn't really happen. Now, I could see it running the CPU so hard that the CPU finally gives up. In other words, it just gets too hot. CPUs don't give up. They'll just keep going. But it can get so hot that it damages the CPU. But I've never seen that. However, it will damage the system so badly that it's going to take you hours and hours to get it back to what it should be. Okay, so non-technical defense. Be skeptical, as I said, of any unexpected message. Verify senders independently. The whole thing with the phishing email from Amazon. I would not click anything in that email. I would go log into Amazon and see if that's listed in my orders, and you're going to find out it's not. The easiest thing that anybody has to do is never click on anything in an email or a message, but go to that site. If somebody says, hey, we've seen some activity on your Chase account, we don't know, click here. I don't care if it's actually from Chase. I'm not clicking on that message, and I'm not clicking in the email. I'm going to go log into Chase independently myself, and I'm going to look in the messages once I'm logged in and go, oh, there's nothing here. Don't click on stuff in email. That's just all there is to it. And if you're going to click on it, verify it. So if you do have an associate or a family member that's like, oh, I'll send that video to you, and then you get an email and it links out to the web for this video, then, well, if they just told you that, it's pretty safe to say that they sent that. But you could message them and say, hey, I got this. This is your email. And they'll go, oh, yeah, that's my email. So that you're not tricked. Avoid any pressure-based decisions. That's, call now. The first 10 that call get this free thing. You'll get a pillow with that if you call now. Don't ever listen to anybody that says, call now, do this now. I have to have it now. You need to do this now. Just you're not protected. You got to get this done. Uh, Anything that's pressure-based, just avoid. And then be aware of it. Right. Be aware of there is issues here. You need to know that there are issues. Don't just go, well, it's probably not going to happen to me. And then here's your differences, just your quick compare. Viruses, worms, Trojans. We'll highlight Trojans here. It looks legitimate. Hidden malicious behavior relies on deception. So be aware of that. And watch my other videos. Take a look at this is how you set up a virus scanning software. This is how you make sure it's working. This is differences in different virus scanning software that's out there. I've got those videos for you so that you can go through them and learn what you need to learn in order to protect yourself. You may know all about that topic and you don't want to watch them, but I'll have those in every single unit, except for the first one, trying to help you not just know this material, but understand this is how you protect yourself. This is how you actually get that done. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you later.